Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Be Encouraged Moments. As always, we're so happy that you're here, and Happy New Year. We are officially into the new year now. So today, I just want to talk about what's on my mind. This is really funny because I had actually had a plan for today, and the more I kind of fleshed out what I wanted to talk about, the more I was like, that's just not right. That's not what I'm feeling, which really plays into what I'm actually going to talk about today, and that's about plans falling apart. And I think that all of you can appreciate that, especially coming into the New Year's. You know, the holidays are behind us, and we always experience things during the holidays that don't go the way that we want them to. We come into the new year, we've got great plans for the new year, we start making resolutions for what we want to do, and things just don't go as planned. And I think that this is just a really timely topic. I want to do a story time, and I want to talk about how badly plans can go, and then I'll get to the point of what all of this is about. So it was the last summer, or maybe actually I think it was 2 summers ago now. Marley and I took one of our really long trips to California, and we were there for 2 weeks, and we had all these different days where we were going to be doing different things. We had all these great plans. And I'm not one of these people that has like every little detail planned out, but I have the day generally mapped out, so I have a general plan of what's going to happen.
Oh, I remember this vacation, trip. Yes, I do.
So there was one day that we were going to go to Universal because we were going to do the whole Harry Potter thing. And we'd never been to Universal. We'd never done the Harry Potter thing. And so this was like a big deal. We were very stoked. We had our matching, well, actually they weren't matching because she's Hufflepuff and I am Gryffindor. Yes, there's a test out there. You can figure that out. She had it all figured out. So I had my whole house colors on. She had her house colors on to the nines. We're up early. We're planning on spending the entire day there. We're going to hit every ride. We're going to do the wand experience. We're going to see the wizards, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Get out to the car. Car won't start. And I'm like, what's going on? It was a dead battery. But, what do I do? I'm at a hotel. I'm not at my house. And my insurance, what do you do? So, I go through all the steps. And, my first step is to call my dad and freak out. So, it doesn't matter how old you are. You've got that person that you call and you freak out with. So I get an appointment made at a Big O that's close, and how quick is the tow guy going to get there to give me a jump? How much? Poor Marley, she's in the hotel room, not sure what's going on. We're not sure. So then I call Universal to figure out if I can cancel the tickets, because now you got to make these reservations where you pick a specific day. So if you don't go on that day, you lose your reservation. Well, I don't have a 24-hour notice because I didn't know we weren't going to go. So I'm on the phone with them trying to figure out what can happen. Tow guy shows up a lot quicker than I anticipated him doing. So we get the car jump, head over, get the battery changed. We're making good time. So, all right, we can make the day. So we're going to head over to Universal. So we get over there. We're behind schedule, but no big deal. Day's okay. The day's not ruined. So we go to have some lunch. And as I'm standing in line to get lunch, my phone's just going crazy, will not stop ringing. And normally when it's back-to-back phone calls like that, something's wrong. So I finally answer the phone, and I'm like, this is Larissa, and it's the hotel calling. Why is my hotel calling me in the middle of the day? Turns out there had been a pipe burst in the room above my room, and I had paid for a really nice suite this time. And so it had all the decorations in it. We had handpicked the suite so that we could have Mickey. Regardless, all of our stuff's in there, and the burst exploded right above the bedroom, which is where all of our clothes are, and had flooded our bedroom. Our backpacks, all of our clothes, all of our lounge flies, all of our ears, all of that stuff. I was really, really, really lucky in the respect that my computer and all the technology stuff, my cameras and all that stuff were out in the other room and they hadn't gotten wet. So the guy's like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to come back and you need to come back and get all of your stuff? And I'm like, so now I've entered Universal, so now there's no way I'm getting my money back. And I'm like, well, I can't. I'm on vacation. And so they're going to go into my room and clear everything out of my room and get everything, moved to a new room for me. They said they would handle all of that for me. Okay, seems a little terrifying, but okay, fine, whatever. Yes. So, all right, I'm going to enjoy this day. It's going to happen. So now it's middle of the afternoon, late afternoon. We haven't even gotten in line for a ride yet. I could have let this destroy my day, which I probably did for about an hour. But after that, I got past it. Let's go get in line. And so what can I do to improve this? And I originally wasn't going to pay for the Fast Pass because, we had the whole day and why not wait in lines? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to spend the money. It's fine. So I went, we got in line, we got the Fast Pass. And so we were able to pretty much walk on lines the way that their system works. And we got, on the train. So all of this to tell you that things don't go as planned. Normally not quite that badly, but we experience this every day. Things don't go as planned. Being mothers, raising our kids. I mean, if you have kids at home, things don't go as planned. If you don't have kids, with your spouse, things don't go as planned. With work, things don't go as planned. So what do? Do you let all of that just destroy your day, destroy your experience? So like for this particular story that I just told you, this was a vacation. So was I going to let that destroy the entire vacation, the one day that we had in Universal Park? I could have. It was very easy to get to that point, but I made a choice and I decided that, bad things happen. Plans get changed and that's okay. You got to roll with the plans and what the changes are. And so what I originally was going to bring to you guys today was talking about failure and about bad things happening and how you have to keep going. The first time's going to be bad. The second time's going to be a little better. The third time's going to be a little better, so on and so forth. And it's not going to be great until you've failed or done bad things several times to that point. And while that was a good message, I know that 2 months ago we had talked about failure. And so I didn't want to really, drive that point home. And so that was an example of, this podcast just wasn't, or this YouTube video just wasn't really feeling right to me. My plan wasn't going as I expected. So what do? I shift. I go for a different plan at moving forward. And I think it goes back to the thing that I talked about in the failure video. It's about how it consumes you. You can let your failures define you, or you can choose to acknowledge that you failed at a thing and that you are still the person that you were designed to be that had a failure. And it's the same thing with your plans. Your plans can still go on the way that you plan them to go. You can choose to let them the bad thing or the failure consume you, or you can choose to shift your plans. So we were still at Universal. We still had an opportunity to go and do the wand experience. We still could go see the wizards. We could still ride the rides. It just started a little later in the day. So we stay a little later in the night, and so as we approach this new year and we start making resolutions and we start setting ourselves up for all of these big plans, all of these things that we want to do, I want you to allow yourself to have grace. And I also want you to remember that plans are never perfect. They never are. And we actually, when I was growing up, another story time, because I'm just kind of going off the cuff right now, because this is what's on my mind right now, because there's a lot of things in my life right now that are not going the way that I anticipated them to be going at this point. But so when I was a kid, I used to race horses, and I actually did that into adulthood for a while. And I was a barrel racer in the rodeo circuit. And when I would train horses, the catchphrase was always practice makes perfect. You guys all know that adage. But what we did is we called it perfect practice makes perfect. And the reason why we added that perfect element is because when you're talking about a barrel racing pattern, you're making a clover leaf around the barrels. And so you can go full out and run that pattern and make a lot of mistakes. And you can do that over and over and over and over again. And that's still practice. But you're making a lot of mistakes. And are you learning from those mistakes? And it's the same thing. So what we did is perfect practice. Slow down. Stop. Think about what the mistakes are. Think about the things that are breaking down. So like, again, with this vacation, this all applies to the story that I shared at the beginning. What things broke down? My car broke down, my hotel room broke down, but neither one of those two things had any bearing on the experience that I was having with my child at Universal. So those two things could be set aside and be dealt with later. And I could focus on the thing that I was there to do, which was to create a lasting memory with my daughter. So as a mother, talking to what I assume are other mothers out there, maybe grandmothers, maybe those who are hoping to be mothers, there are going to be things when it comes to your children that are not going to go the way that you plan. And we can always take this back to a scriptural thing as well. The things that God has in store for you are not going to go the way you anticipate them to go. Don't look at that as a failure. Don't look at that as an opportunity to quit. Look at that as an opportunity to look at what went wrong, what plans aren't going the way that they are, and how can you change those things. Sometimes the changes, like a broken car, although I could fix the car, but like the hotel room, I really had no control over that whatsoever. But I could shift on my heels. I still had a room to stay in. I could look at the positive side of that, and I could figure out how to move forward. So what is all this about today? I just want to encourage all of you that when you fail, that when plans change and you don't have a new plan on right there on the cuff, that doesn't mean that the experience is lost. It doesn't mean that the memory is lost. And the really funny thing out of that story that I shared at the beginning is that while those were really crummy things to happen on a day that I went out with my daughter, they made a memory. They were hilarious. They're really funny to look back on and laugh now. And we make jokes about it when we go. And so you are still making memories even when things don't go as planned. And sometimes the memories end up being maybe even better because they didn't go the way that you planned. And so they're so in the moment. And you guys know how I feel about in the moment experiences. So today's YouTube video is kind of scattered. I'm talking about several different things, but it was the failure piece that we talked about 2 months ago. It's about the planning, whether it's planning your new year, planning your vacation, planning whatever. Those do kind of go hand in hand. And it all comes back to encouraging you and reminding you that these are natural parts of life. And they're things that are sometimes completely out of your control. So what do? You choose, you make a decision to not let your failures define you, let your plans ruin your vacation, or your ruined plans ruin your vacation, if you will, and allow yourself to be in the moment and enjoy the things that are around you. So I encourage all of you to stop, to slow down, and to practice being more methodical about the things that are broken and allowing yourself to choose to move past those things that are broken, whether they're failures or messed up plans. Again, I hope all of you are having an already wonderful New Year and that your New Year continues to be wonderful. And as always, we'll see you every week to encourage you with more things. So thank you for joining us for our Be Encouraged moments.